When you get a paper cut, your finger doesn't just fall off. You might be in pain, and you might even cry, but you're not going to lose a finger unless that paper cut gets infected or you do something really stupid, like put your hand in a wood chipper. But there are creatures on this planet that can regrow their body parts, and they don't even need a paper cut to do it. Take the humble starfish. If you break off one of its arms, it will grow back another one in its place. But if you were to cut that arm off with a clean cut, the starfish wouldn't have to grow an entirely new arm. It could just regrow the tip. And the reason it does this is kind of gross. Starfish basically have superglue for blood, so when they get injured, their top priority is to stop bleeding. And since they don't have a lot of that spare blood, they'd rather just glue the broken pieces back together instead of growing new ones. But some creatures, like the Mexican axolotl, can regrow entire limbs. And unlike the starfish, they actually do this by making new cells. The good news is that means they can regrow a whole new finger if they lose one. The bad news is that those new cells don't always get organized the way they're supposed to, which means sometimes the axolotl will end up with more than one finger. Now, humans don't have the ability to regrow our fingers, but we do have the ability to regrow our hair, which is awesome. Unless you're bald, in which case it's not very awesome. But most animals that can regrow body parts can only do it once. Lizards, for example, can drop their tails when they're grabbed by a predator, and then they grow new tails later on. But their new tails aren't exactly tails. They're more like shriveled up little nubs that kind of wiggle. And the only time a lizard can regrow a proper tail is when it's still a baby. The same thing happens with salamanders. The cool thing about their regrown tails, though, is that they actually have a little sac of undigested cells at the base of their tail that kind of acts like a reservoir for regrowing cells. They can use this reservoir to regrow their tails several times. But just like with the lizards, the new tails aren't as nice as the originals. And if they lose their tail while they're still babies, they can never get that original tail back. So it turns out that while these animals do have the ability to heal themselves, they can't exactly rebuild better than before. And that's why you should really try not to lose your finger in a wood chipper. Thanks for watching.